This particular machete is going to be going home with our brother, Guro Tom Shook. Tom, all done, brother. So, kind of, those of you who are not new to my channel, you guys know what this is already. So, this is a Tramontina Machete in 12 inches that has been just cleaned up slightly and re-edged. That's the only thing I did. Just edge it a little bit better. And with G Innovations, what we call Mod Zero, but John recently took one of my blades to his training for a couple of different law enforcement agency guys when they're doing that stuff. And he tells me that a lot of guys said this is a stacked, and I guess now we'll call it stacked hemp cord. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I craft these in this way. So whenever I get a Tramontina Machete that I'm going to be heavily using, whether that's going to be for pack sword application or for just general gardening, thing that I've noticed with using these is that more you use them, more rattling it develops from the handle. This is because the rivets, although they're secure initially, when you start heavily using it and hitting this in a manner that you should never use a machete, which is impacting, you'll notice that there's quite a bit of handle to rivet separation. So in order to prevent that, what I do is, you see on the back, you can still see it, where there's spaces between the wood and the steel. On this one I use wood epoxy to fill it all. Steel epoxies work too, but I don't recommend using clear epoxy, because what happens with clear epoxy is if you use it and per se drop it, clear epoxies have a tendency to break internally, so from the impact, so discolor and crack, and there's all sorts of mess. So personally I prefer using wood epoxy or steel epoxy, and I found have great results with both. Now, reason for the hemp cord is that once the hemp cord touches Murakami Sensei's lacquer, it literally changes the characteristics of the hemp cord, that you develop this really crazy tacky grip surface that's very much like a very coarse G10, and it stays in the hand no matter what. And the beauty of it is you don't have to worry about having the blade fly out of your hand. It'll stay with you. As for the Kydex, G Innovations, very simple Kydexing, just a typical fold over. With Tramontina Machete, one of the difficulties is it does have a slight curvature. In Japan we call it sori, so it has that slight sori to it. But this is the reason why when you Kydex, you have to learn to slightly apply the heat where the stress spots are to actually form that curvature with the Kydex without creating a little bulking. That's how you can tell the differentiate between those who knows how to Kydex and who don't. And I'm nowhere near the expert level yet, believe me. I have friends who do this freehand with using nothing but a heat gun. I'm pretty much the same way. All I use is heat gun and that's it. I don't have a press. As you all know, there was a time when I thought about going into this as a business, so I thought about getting a custom air compressed press made that would basically, it's an air vacuum that sucks out everything and compresses the Kydex to the blade design and shape. But as I was talking with my students about this, I chose not to be, and I ended up getting my other illustrations and weapons fight choreograph gigs, so that's what I start going into instead of this. But I still like to Kydex and wrap, just because that's my standing meditation. And for my brothers and my whānau in general, I always tell them, make best use of it. If you need something done, talk to me. That way you know exactly where your blades are at. For those of you like me who have the experience having our blades lost by our Kydex maker, yeah, there were times when we would ship our blades off to someone to do Kydex for us, only to have that shit either stolen or lost or held hostage. And that was not a fun time. But we don't, and we should not speak ill to dead as much, so we'll just leave it at that. Alright, look,
G Innovation's Tramontina modified machete like this one. This is going to go to Tom, since he'll be taking training with me next week for our pack sword application. I had questions on that ever since I posted that a while back. So a lot of you guys said, can you do a better lighting, dude? Your lighting sucks. And I'm saying, yeah, that's early in the morning, so you have to forgive me on that. But right now it's sunny out, and I got the garage door rolled up because otherwise I might suffocate from the fume from the lacquer. But let me explain to you guys what the pack sword application is. So the simple thing that I could explain on a pack sword, I have to move these for a little bit. First of all, don't get something that costs you thousands or hundreds and thousands of dollars, okay? It's just meaningless. It's just a bag. Purpose of a bag is to hold your shit together wherever you're going. And if you're going in a hostile area, you want that shit to be able to stay with you for a long time. Now, what I do when I get something like this is I simply have a bungee attachment to it that I could loop through or do a basic knot through. So, get the bungee in, loop it. Again, this is Tom's, so I'm trying to be super gentle. Otherwise, I really don't have to, but since it's not mine, it's Tom's. So I looped it through. Now the Kydex sheath is engaged and locked into that little loop on the bag. This means that when it's tucked in like this, it's not showing anything that screams, dude's got a machete. The beauty of this, if you do need it, you have to roll that down. You got your backpack, and you try to de-escalate the situation in the best way possible. But when not possible, you get your blade out like so. And the beauty is the bungee, basically as you draw your blade out, it retains the Kydex, and with the static line, it'll pull it back into its compartment so it's not hanging around like crazy. So that you can go into whatever you need to do with application that you need this for. And that's what a pack sword is, and the application for a pack sword is. Drawing that, very simple, and resheathing it though. Sadly, we can't all do the Hollywood magic on that one. So simply grab your Kydex sheath back and make sure you know which side is which. Like that. Sheath it back. Like so. So that's the pack sword application. I have folks ask me, okay, can you do this with anything? Pretty much, but I always recommend all my students for this type of application. You want something that's, you can't have something that's not gonna fit into the compartment, okay? This is the reason why I prefer, although there are many lengths to it, I still prefer 12-inch because 12-inch is kind of universal, that you could apply in almost any environment. Meaning, right now I have a garage ceiling. I can still draw and do my work and still not touching the garage ceiling, which is great. Even with the door rolled down, and I just kind of have to watch it. It's very close. Umpagata, literally. But with this total package, anyone can, you don't, like, just borrowing word from Clint Smith, you don't need $1,000 tool to get the job done when you can do it with something that doesn't cost as much, but will do exactly the same thing and give you the same result. Sometimes better, sometimes not, but it just depends. But with this simple tool, if you have the training, if you're a prepper, I hate to use that word because sometimes when you use the word prepper, people kind of say, oh my god, you're doomsday believers. Like, well, it'll come when it comes. That's the way I always like to tell my students. But there you go. So this is a pack sword. Machetes wise, you could get any type of machete. My personal favorite is Tramontina, just because I've yet to have a Tramontina machete like suffer critical damage to a degree where it's unrepairable.
Meaning, typically when you use Tramontina Machete, especially like in a hard way that I do, and also sometimes one of my students, what they'll do is we'll use these deburred and we use them for what Ray calls Taiji sparring. Shout out to my teacher and my brother, Master Raymond Floro. How's it going, brother? Hopefully sunnier in Aussie and less crazy heat. It's going to be getting up here crazy today. So Ray uses these deburred for Taiji Machete sparring, and you could definitely do. If you watch Ray spar with these, they last. If they survive Ray to a degree, they'll outlast you, guaranteed. And I had several of these super etched by my friend Master Daniel Melly. Shout out to Daniel. How's it going, brother? And when Daniel puts his Epicurean edges on this, now this one doesn't have it, but when you have a Daniel's Epicurean edge, Tramontina Machete, that thing is, oh Jesus, that will, it stays sharp, it reduces the chance of chipping and rolling, and it is just the best way to do it. If you're gonna have a blade that you need and you don't plan, you want something that will reduce the chances of chipping and rolling, you need an Epicurean edge. So contact Daniel for that, and you'll be getting the best blade possible for any type of applications and operations. But there you go, guys. So that's a pack sword, and I'm gonna get another one as today's a review day since I got some time, and the wind just kind of picked up a little bit, so it's flying around the garage. But there you go. So Tramontina Machete with orange Kydex, safety orange Kydex. Yeah, we just leave it at that. All right, thank you.